to Dr. Satsma. Today, my and I would like to present to you about development process. First and foremost, I would like to introduce my crew member, which is first, Noaim binti Kori. Second, Anis NAZIRA binti Rosmawi. Third, HANIS Akilah bin Salim. Fourth, RASYDAN Syafiq bin Rosmadi. And the last one is RIQASHA Baru Pasarabu binti Bustami Pasarabu. Now, we move to the what is development. Building development means the process of changing the character of the land from its existing condition to a more usable condition by the construction or placement of a building or building terrain. Now, why development take place? The supply and demand for land can be used to provide an answer to this issue. Land is the resource for development. The sort of development is created is influenced by the size, condition and type of the land. As we all know, demand for land changes through the time. Here is the factor why development takes place. First, as the population grows, the demand for new structure will increase. Second, changes in affluent and the population desire for something better, resulting in a need for more comfortable and high quality structure. Third, changes in the rate of economic activity grow on a local or national scale. Fourth, a movement in the transformation process from a traditional to a more efficient and computerized system. And the last one is improvement in manufacturing and distribution process that are more efficient and require less time. Next, who is developer? The developer, according to the definition, is an entrepreneur who assumes all of the risks of production in exchange for an unknown demand. Based on Body 1996, commercial developer may be defined as an entrepreneur who provides an organization and capital required to complete the building and expect profit as a return. The developer of development can be classified according to whether the project is public or private. A public sector developer is made up for government entities such as local government, national industries, new town developer and others that are concerned with the national interest. Then, private developer on the other hand is the properties of a private corporation, a private developer or an organization. Next, we move to the function of developer. First, developer need to arranging sale or rental of development. A developer will sell his development or might keep a part of all upon completion. By keeping the building, it can be used for investment purpose by charging rent or using as a collateral for future loan. Second, developer need to ensure project is built. The developer must make sure that the construction has carried out as a schedule in the development program. The completion of the project may be delayed due to slowness in the construction or modification to the original design. Delay in construction will also cause an increasement in construction costs. Third, developer need to arranging finance. The developer has provided short and long-term finance for the development. The developer can obtain finance from various sources that offer a variety of financial methods. Short-term financial is used to finance the building and current operation. And then, long-term financial, normally used for the purpose of investment, such as buying a new building that will be rented out and for the expansion of the organization. Fourth, developer need to occurring development approval. The developer approval is required from parties such as the federal government, state government, and local authorities. The approval regulation in different states in Malaysia is different. 5. Developer need to occurring development site. This include buying of land until the land is owned. Developer can acquire and purchase the land directly from the original owner or through the process of tendering, and in certain situations, the land can become the developer through the process of auction. Generally, the price is lower for land that is obtained. Now, we move to the last one, which is developer need to determine development potential through direct negotiation with the owner, then through the process of tendering or auction. This means estimating the future demand or alternative uses of existing land and estimating the cost of the new building. From these different uses, developer has to decide on the alternative that will give maximum return. These maximum returns depend on the limitation involved, such as availability of finance, planning and building policies, availability of labor and material and others.
Development requires approval, however, as different developments have a different levels of impacts. Development are grouped into two types of methods. There are two types of development. First, the traditional, and the second is modern. The traditional development pattern refers to the approach to growth and development that humans use for thousands of years across different culture, contents and latitude. Pre-automobile city, big and small in colonial society, share and similitude of design. Public space are built to a human scale where a person on foot can feel comfortable and safe. Most of person day-to-day needs are accessible by walking. Elements of the business community, government and international organization tend to support the traditional view. This approach assumes that development is primarily an economic process that consists of discrete projects and specific economic policies. It recognizes that development has social, environmental and political implications, but argues that this should be defined separately from that economic aspect. The proponents of this view divide decision-making about this project and policy into two parts. First, there are board policy issues, in which these decisions are made through that politic process by the government and society, in which that policy or project will be implemented. And for the second category is involves specific project or policy decision. Growth, advancement, good change, or the addition of physical, economic, environmental, social and demographic components are all examples of development. The modern view of development has evolved in response to the mounting empirical evidence that in too many cases, government and project sponsor mystically flowered policy and constructed developmentally. The first is our growing recognition of the limits on the ability environment to maintain the human society that we have created and the resulting importance attached to accounting adequately for the environment impacts of development activity. The second factor is the increasing influence of international human rights law and forums around the world. The old and new ways of doing things are diametrically opposite. The approach emphasizes consistency, cooperation and visibility, with everyone working together to create a full digital model of the system. The model itself combines requirements, system structure, system behavior and parametric constraint, allowing each team to focus on the portion of the model that pertains to their area of expertise.
Okay, let me share about parties involved in the development process. Under process of ownership and financing, we have a owner. The owner or developer is the party that initiates the project, bears the risks and loses and enjoy the profit. The owner can be from the public or private sector. Next is a financing. This refers to the owner duty in the providing credit and financing facilities to the parties involved in the development. The owner can finance the development either using his own funds or taking up a loan. Next, process of design. Under process of design, we have a consultant. The consultant will release the client needs. A development needs a consultant such as the architect, engineer, quantity surveyor, town planner, landscape architect, land surveyor and valuer. Some of the main responsibilities of the consultant are to plan and design the project, prepare tender document and reports, give advice on selection of tender, provide supervision during construction and management of project. Next are process of acquiring approval. This include local government and federal state government. For the local government, this party approve layout plans, building plans and service inside and outside the building and infrastructure works. Next, federal and state government. These parties approve land application from the aspect of conversion and subdivision, town and country planning, drainage and piping system, financing and others. Okay, for the process of construction, under the process of construction, we have a contractor. The contractor is the person responsible for interpreting the client needs into reality in accordance with the terms and conditions stipulated. Okay, that's it for parties involved. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, for the next slide is Act and Law development process. Okay, first under the local government planning controls, we have a Local Government Act 1976, Act 171, NAS Town Board Enactment, CAP 137, NAS Town and Country Planning Act 1976, Act 172. Okay, for the services, have a Fire Service Act 1988, Act 341, net housing, for the housing developer control and licensing Act 1966, Act 118, next under the building, Street Drainage and Building Act 1974, Act 133, Uniform Building Bylaws 1984. Under Land Act and Law, have a National Land Code 1965, Act 341, Land Acquisition Act 1916, Act 486. Next, have a Land Conservation Act 1916, Act 385. And lastly, under Infrastructure and Utilities, have a Electricity Supply Act 1919, Act 447. Okay, this is from me. So we are going to the next presenter.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Noor binti Kori. So today I will explain about what is One Stop Center or OSC. The implementation of this One Stop Center is a new way to shorten the time period for land development approval as an alternative to speed up the land approval process and directly improve the delivery system of procedures and land development proposal process at the local authority level to provide comprehensive, fast and accurate services and meet the needs of the people.
We all know that OIC is a party to reduce time and hassle of application to get approval, which is via right proper documents when they submitted for approval. So these are the steps that will be done by OIC, which is check necessary needs such as documents, plans, certificates, etc. Next is evaluate the documents, the applications with the committee via meetings, and then update the applicants that of their status for the application, either is approved or needs more amendment. And then if it's approved, they let PSP know that applicants are worthy to receive CCC. And lastly will be update reports from time to time.
Okay, for the application process, the development approval is a legal document that allows you to undertake a development. Development approval specify the design and other documents the development must follow. First, application for the approval of conversion and subdivision of land. The district land officer prepares the letter of conversion and subdivision, include the terms of approval, fees, and conditions on the use of land. This letter will then be delivered to either the landowner or the developer. The approved layout plan will also be written to the developer if the subdivision plan is not available at this stage. A separate application needs to be made after the approval for conversion using Form 9A Also, there is a specified time limit for the payment of conversion fees. If the payment is not made within this period, the approval can be revoked. Second, application for planning permission. The decision is usually made by local authorities by a full meeting of council or district. There is some important items in considering applications for planning permission. Subsection 22 of Act 172 has explained the things that should be considered by the local planning authority before considering or making decision on an application for planning permissions. Among them include provisions of the development plan which has been gazetted or in preparation. Instruction. The instruction given by the state planning committee, if any. Provisions, sewerage services at 1993. Proposed development report. And objections made neighboring landowners under Section 22. Application should consult the National Physical Planning Council. Commentaries of the technical departments concerned. There is some example of permission letter. Application for developer's license. An applicant for a license under the provisions of Section 5 of the Act shall submit his application in the form as may be determined by the controller from time to time together with such documents as are specified in Section 5 of the Act, and supply such other relevant particulars or information as may be required by the controller. The fee payable upon every application for a license shall be 50 ringgit. The controller may, in his discretion, grant a license with or without attaching any condition or conditions thereto, or refuse to grant a license. The last one, the fee payable for a license under this regulation shall be 1,000 ringgit per year or per of year. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is RIQASHA. So for today, I'm going to continue when Ryan finishes off for the application process and development process. I will briefly explain about 4 stages such as building plan approval, advertising and sales permit, implementation stage, and application of certificate of completion and compliance. As for the application of approval of building plan, it can be done after getting approval such as conversion and subdivision, foreign investment committee approval, and necessary approvals from land office. Parties such as architect, engineers, mechanical and electrical parties will start preparing building plan design to submit to local authorities. Land surveyors will survey the land for conversion of final title process. All the plans submitted must be endorsed by qualified architect, engineer and owner as a declaration of compliance to building regulation by authorities. Upon submission, there will also be fees that need to be presented according to the local authorities itself. Here are the examples of fee calculation from local authority Iskandar Puteri, Johor, and from local authority of Shah Alam. The building plan is approved, construction work can start. Developers can start advertising properties to get buyers after permit application approved, or known as Advertising Permit and Developers License APDL. They are issued by the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, where the units that are allowed to be sold will be mentioned as well. Then, developers are required to prepare financial arrangements for the buyers with finance institutions, such as banks, trust companies, insurance companies, brokerage firms, and investment dealers. Implementation is where consultant will need to observe and manage during construction period. The items involved are project planning such as scheduling, progress chart, inspection, cost control and budgeting. Contract administration is involved where amendments are mostly made in the contracts agreed when changes at site occur. Content in contract are tender document and selection, signatures and agreement, supervision and mainly clarification of payments. Lastly is taking over, where CCC is involved. CCC is Certificate of Completion of Compliance, introduced by the Street Drainage and Building Amendments Act 2007 on April 12, that used to be Certificate of Fitness for Occupation. It is a certificate given to successfully finish project that complies to all laws and safe to be occupied. Principal submitting person will apply CCC, and the CCC is issued by the professional architect or engineers who is registered under the Board of Engineers or Architect Malaysia, acting in the capacity of CCC. There are 6 essential services for issuance of CCC, which is confirmation of electrical supply, confirmation of water supply, sewerage treatment, clearance of lift and machinery, clearance for active fire fighting system, and lastly road and drainage. During the CCC is being issued, developers are allowed to claim full payment of the unit sold and hand over the property keys and transfer title of land or property to owner within 14 days when land office finalise the title. At the same time, contractors can claim their money upon work completion. And lastly, owners or developers will then have to make application of water and electrical supply from authorities.